Okay, Shannon, did you have any particular questions or anything as I was kind of going through that, or did it sort of make
Yeah, it
sense?
makes sense. One thing, when you brought up the group history kind of thing, I was just so surprised because we've just been working on it this week and it said something like we have 139 POs. And I was like, there's no way we did 139 POs. But the minute you went into it, I thought, oh, it tracks everything. It tracks when you edited it. It tracks when you switched the person you were paying. It tracks this and that and this. And I love how it tied it all to these were all the edits I did on this PO. So if I wanted to go back, I could see the final thing, but this is kind of the process that one went through.
Okay,
So
correct,
that's cool.
correct.
I didn't know that it did that.
Yep, so
But
behind
at
the
first it was
scenes,
like, oh, no, there's no way we did that many. But then I realized, oh, those are instances that have happened.
correct. So basically where we were at, and here's what Shannon was asking a question. I said, this week, please show me. And I was scrolling down through here, and we had a whole bunch of different things. POs, we've actually created 25 POs in this little week just kind of for fun. But what she was talking about is when we actually went to the history report. This little link is the same thing as going like this. Historical instead of effectual, and then saying get it. Okay? Does that make sense how that's the switch that's actually happening? And she's like, 139? So what this is PO histories that have been done. And so if I literally click on it, it'll actually tell me everything that we actually did. So currently, because it's on dates, it's starting saying, okay, at 120 you did this, at 120 you did this, It's walking me through. And currently I was on PO 46, 46, 46. I switched to PO 47. Oh, look at this. I went back to PO 46. Look at this. I ended up locking and verifying it. Probably because we wanted to pay for it. But like, it's just kind of interesting. It basically, it allows you to walk through the whole thing. If I scroll way down to the bottom here, I'm just going to kind of come down. This is the history of what's been happening. Okay, here's some stuff that we did for John. He wanted to see how to sell some wine. We then came down. This was some stuff for Cheryl. She wanted some bottles, some amber bottles being added to some POs. This was some stuff we did for Ray. We are doing some tubes and hoses and adding in some different part numbers to this particular PO number 64. And this was actually yesterday. And then as you scroll down, I'm now into today. And so depending on what's happening, basically you can see how all of these things are being pushed into these little teeny compartments. And then that's actually how Adilas does it. Virtually, we try to sell ourselves, and people don't even realize what this word is, but we basically say we are a business platform or a data portal, okay? So a data portal basically means, hey, I will catch whatever you throw at me, okay? So as they throw things, we're catching in all of these different little tables, and then when they want it, we're able to then go back and display it to them. So if I go to let's just say for fun, I'll click right here on this PO, let's go to this one, number 67. If I click on it, so let me show you all the different pieces that are technically in different containers, but yet I display it in one, okay? This is just for fun. Sam's Club, he's in a vendor. He's in a separate table, okay? Location, separate table. It's not connected with the PO. Eventually it does get connected. A user, a different table, okay? A type, a different table. Okay, I'm not trying to scare you or anything like this. Watch this. We have items. Items are in a different table. The line items are in a different table than the main. If there was any payments, they would be in a different table. Are there any photos? They're in a different table. Are there any histories on this thing? Absolutely, there sure will be.
By table, you essentially mean these containers that you're talking about.
Correct, correct. So check this out. In database logic, a table is virtually like a can, okay? And so every single thing I want. So say this little one green can right here. Say I was throwing some photos into this one. Boom, this is my PO photo table, okay? I might have another table right here that has the PO line items. Everything that goes PO line items I'm throwing into this table. Everything that is actually for the main PO might go in this table. So like literally, like this is a great analogy because there's just tons and tons of these cans, but literally everything you do, we're stuffing it into there. So one of these cans right here might be locations, but I'm able to tie location table to a PO table to a PO line items table to a, like, I'm not trying to blow your mind, but basically that's what we do inside of a database is we basically connect all of these pieces together, okay? And it's called a one-to-many relationship. So let's say that this particular Pringle can was a location. Guess what it would be connected to? I have one location called main headquarters, or let's say I'm in Logan, Utah, my Logan, Utah store. Watch this. I'm just going to randomly point to some stuff, but a location is tied to an expense. Okay, a location is tied to an invoice. A location is tied to a PO. A location is tied to potentially a user. A location is tied to a element of time, if you want. Like that's called a one-to-many relationship. So that one spot right there that has the location, if I change it, it technically would cascade itself to all the other pieces. It just kind of automatically updates. And the reason it automatically updates is what I'm doing is behind the scenes, you're literally referencing. And so it creates what we call a one-to-many relationship. I'm just going to hit back a couple times right here. We are looking at the PO and then the actual history of this particular thing. I'm just going to kind of head back there. So what ends up happening is all these different little pieces, we're sticking it in, and then what we do is we categorize it. This is in the PO history table, and I put a special number here. This number is the main ID of that particular PO. In order for me to actually connect it with all the other pieces, who actually created this? I'm actually putting another special ID number behind the scenes that says, what is Brandon's special ID? So that table's like, hey, I know exactly what I need. What needs to be put into me? So we start stuffing all these pieces in it. Literally think of it like Pringle cans. It's one of the easiest ways to do it. And then you're virtually able to connect things. And so earlier today, we were actually talking with John, and he had some questions, and we were talking about a thing called scripting, okay? So programming, people actually write from line 1 and go all the way down to the bottom, and when they're done, they compile it and they get a program, okay? Scripting is what you're seeing right here when I was doing that. Scripting is basically saying like this, I need invoices. If I don't have enough payments, let's map it so it shows up in receivables. See how it's just a teeny little micro piece of the puzzle? As soon as we get that piece of the puzzle working, we can let go. Basically, it'll automatically know what to do. Instead of building that whole program from A to Z and then compiling it at the end, scripting goes like this. I just need this teeny little piece. Oh, I just need this teeny little piece, a vendor to a PO. It literally is itsy-bitsy bridges, and we put thousands of them together, and then that's what ends up creating Adilas as a whole. And so yesterday we were also talking about world building. So it's kind of very interesting how like this whole world is kind of becoming time sensitive and date sensitive, and what are the pieces that are kind of connected. And I know I'm almost probably talking sci-fi type stuff, but I'm having fun, and so we'll go from there. So I'm actually going to stop this particular subject unless there's other questions, and we can kind of go on. But I'm excited to get this out there because there are people out there, and even if they're not using Adilas, I guarantee you they will end up using some of these exact same features and concepts and creating their own basically virtual little worlds, and possibly even to a customized level to where they could actually be like, hey, this is all I do, but guess what? I'm going to run it in this objects and data over time mentality. It comes back to that, and this might be an abstract concept, but I've tried to cover it lightly just to kind of give you a little flavor of what objects and data over time can